Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shah, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Kadash. All praises, honor, glory, love, respect, faith, and power, and trust, and all credit to my Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and my Heavenly Big Brother, Yahweh Shah. Thank you so much for what you've done, what you're doing, and what you're going to do. Double honors to the apostles and elders and bishops of GMS, Great Millstone, who I learned from, and all the men scattered all over the world, teaching this truth and none but the truth in the name, spirit, and the power of Yahweh Bashim Shah. Trying to put a spiritual bug in you Hebrew Israelites' ears, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, and Middle Indians, and you speckled birds. And what is a speckled bird? That be a Hebrew Israelite that look like some of the heathen nations, like, for example, a Hebrew Israelite that look like a so-called white person, or so-called Chinese person, etc., etc. Got some videos lined up about war, or just updates on what's going on with all these nations going at it with one another. And pretty much leading to World War III, which we've been in World War III. But anyway, it just updates on war. And a dream. And I even got a dream about something about nuclear weapons and being in a bunker. But anyway, I'm going to play these videos. I'm going to get into scripture my best ability, say whatever I got to say through spirit and power, Yahweh Shema Shah, the Holy Spirit, the Kurhak Kadash. Lord willing be on me. Let's get it. And by the way, yeah, this coming from, I don't know bro name, but it's GMS Awakening 144. And it says they are snatching up young Ukrainian men, and even old ones too, to go fight in the war. Yeah. And it's coming to America too. It's coming to everywhere. Everywhere. That's some damn blood curdling, what they call it? Blood curdling screams. Shit. She like, oh, don't take my man away. Don't take my man away, motherfuckers. I don't know what to deal with. I mean, her ass screaming or them niggas. She got the Cobra clutch on his ass. She just holding on to him like he choking him while they pulling him. They pulling him out of the car. She choking his ass and screaming in his ear. And then get pepper sprayed.
Вера, звони дяде, Вера. Звони дяде Андрею. Звони дяде Андрею. Мне плохо. Мне плохо, вы меня убиваете! Убиваю! Ладно, давайте им документы. Я привезу документы. Ну не бейте меня! Вера, не пускай меня, Вера. Пожалуйста.
Hi, Shalom.
I ain't gonna play all brother video, but if you wanna watch the rest of it, there go the title of the video. There go the title of the video right here. There go the channel. Subscribe if you want to. I mean, it's best you do and continue getting edified. But I ain't gonna tell you what to do. But it'd be best you do subscribe and be edified. Let's get to the next one.
In this course, we will go from.
Well, for the U.S. and for Trump, there is no deal in terms of Hormuz, and it doesn't look like there's going to be. And it looks like he's enraged because things are not going his way. The threats fly in all directions. And apparently, Trump and Pete Hegseth got into a big argument, and it was over the supply of missiles. Now, Trump, going on a rant, says that they're going to hunt down and jail with long sentences the leakers of this information. He goes on to state that we've got all kinds of missiles and this and that we're not short. But then others are saying, why would you be threatening to jail someone if the information wasn't true?
Nigga, they been saying this shit for about, I don't know, last year or the year before that, about 2024, that they were low on ammunition or munition. And a lot of this shit, the missiles they receive, you need certain metals that other countries have, and they're at war with those countries, like China. You are at war with China, and you need certain metals to build these missiles. And shit. Anyway.
Someone leaks something if it is...
Let me see. Let's see what they said. Let me see. What metals are needed to build missiles for America that China have? I can't. I don't know if that's the best way to. Tungsten is coarse. A tungsten is for high density structure and armor piercing components. A rare earth metal like selenium and antimonium or neodymium and disoprosinium. I can't pronounce all this shit. Anyway, they need all this shit again from China, but they can't build these missiles or certain military guided missiles and all that shit. China got it and they're at war with China. Anyway, I mean, come on, bro. We knew about this shit for a while.
Isn't real. So Trump admitting that information has been leaked that should not have. And this whole deal with Iran is just up in smoke. They are now striking hostile targets in Hormuz. They are declaring the Oman deal in motion, but that it does not include the United States, Israel, or any other protection, any other allies. The Strait of Tiers is firing up on the other end on the Red Sea to put pressure on this front. And they're just putting the United States out of this. They're saying that they're not part of the talks. They can't come through the waterway, and they're going to receive no goods. So this is not good. But between Hegseth and Trump, apparently the ammunition fears they're saying you shouldn't worry about because we've got plenty. Although the numbers out there, if you run them and look them up, shows that we're low. But why they would put out official numbers on what we have in our military is beyond me. That would be ignorant. To tell everyone, the whole world, your enemy, what you're sitting on just makes no sense anyway. But apparently they're trying to hunt down these leakers. So, no deal in sight. I don't think anything's going to get any better. I would have a plan because the price of things are going to continue to rise. Trump can only manipulate it all so much. And at some point, something's got to give. Join me.
Welcome back. Just about the bottom of the hour. So we've got some new reporting first here on MS Now about the brutally demanding conditions that service members are facing overseas as we wait for some resolution to the war with Iran. MS Now spoke with a dozen family members and sailors and Marines aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln, who say they're extremely concerned about the morale, safety, and conditions on that ship. The 5,000-person crew has been at sea for 9 straight months and engaged in combat operations since the beginning of the war against Iran all the way back in February. Many family members describe their kids or spouses telling them about non-operational toilets, moldy showers, laundry facilities that were broken for weeks, and extended periods with no hot water for showering. The families say their loved ones have described food shortages and standing in line at the ship.
Yeah, they were talking about that shit while it was months ago. While they was out there, they were talking about that. And I know some of the ones that they're talking about, the working toilets, they was purposely making the toilets not work. They wouldn't want to go fighting or some shit like that, but whatever.
Store for an hour or more, even while it often lacks basic supplies like toothpaste, soap, and deodorant. Let's bring in Emma.
And what about food? Shit, they were feeding them look like a Laffy Taffy looking silver tongue. I don't know what the fuck that was in those pictures. They showed months ago what the food they were eating.
MS Now Pentagon reporter Priya Sridhar, who broke that story. Former Acting Army Secretary Patrick Murphy also back with us. Priya, it's a great story. People think about service members, in this case sailors, in a combat zone. They, of course, think about the dangers the enemy may pose. They perhaps think less about just the conditions they have to live with each and every day, sounding, from your reporting, downright miserable and at times maybe even dangerous.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And, the Lincoln just set a record in the Navy for having the most continuous days at sea, with more than 200 days underway. They left San Diego in November. They had a brief stop in Guam in December, and then they didn't stop for a port call again until early July, just briefly in Oman, where most of the sailors were able to get off the ship, but they had to stay in port. And really what the families were telling me is they're very worried about exhaustion here. Most of their family members are working 12 to 14-hour shifts. They're depending on their job. They're not getting any days off. And when you talk about a flight deck on an aircraft carrier, this is one of the most dangerous places in the military. You're having high-speed aircraft taking off and landing. You have munitions, weapons, and bombs being moved around at a very fast pace. And the service members are also being exposed to, really loud noises for a sustained period of time, which can really lead to long-term injuries like hearing loss. So when you're talking about exhaustion, when you're talking about low morale, because now this deployment has been extended for a second time and there's no end in sight, they're worried that those things could lead to accidents that could potentially even be deadly. I want you to take a listen to what some of them told me.
They didn't choose to be there. They volunteered to be there. They're willing to be there, and they're doing their best. So they want our support. And part of that support means we have to have the tools to do our job. That means the fuel. That means the food, right? That means the food. That means the toothpaste and the deodorant. That means all of it, right? Now,
I don't think it's the ship is the issue. I think it's our president, it's our government that's not helping the morale. I think the ship is doing what they can do with what they're given, but I think our government needs to be doing more for our military that's sitting over there.
And so, you're hearing from them about exhaustion, but they're saying that, even at the end of their shifts, the fact that these sailors and Marines can't take showers, they can't wash their uniforms. I had some family members tell me that they believe that prisoners and inmates in jail are treated with more dignity and respect than our service members.
So, Patrick, let's get your take on this. What does this tell you about Pete Hegseth's military?
Listen, we're stretched pretty thin, and it's not just, Priya did a great job in this reporting. Jonathan, the one point she made in her article, which I like to highlight, there's over 10,000 shorties off the USS Lincoln. In the Pentagon, we used to say, amateurs talk strategy, experts talk logistics. The USS Lincoln is the logistics machine there in the Middle East, pushing out these sorties every day. And it is a very dangerous, job. And these are the ultimate warriors, whether you're a sailor or a soldier. The fact is that you are doing really tough jobs. And so my heart and thoughts and prayers are going out to these sailors and their families. I know they've been extended twice. They're stretched pretty thin right now.
And this is not a new boat. The ship launched in the 80s. Priya, talk to us. It was also a conflict with no real end in sight. Like there's, negotiations off and on. Every so often the president, authorizes some sort of strike. They could be there for a long time to come.
Yeah, and that's something I heard repeatedly from the families as well, is that, they understand that their loved ones volunteer to be in the military, right? They're not expecting to be on a Carnival cruise here. They don't expect buffets. They don't expect, a hot tub. They understand that the conditions are going to be rough. They signed up to go to war. But I think what's lacking here is any clear strategy. And they said, we're ready to do a mission and complete a mission, but what we're failing to understand is what this mission actually is and when is it going to end. So I think really what they're looking for is some goalpost that, they can keep an eye on and some relief at the end of all of this. We had 3 aircraft carriers simultaneously in the Middle East, which hasn't, you haven't seen a military buildup like that since 2003. And this has been a war that has largely been fought by the Navy. When you think about who's been imposing the naval blockade in the Strait of Hormuz and who...
Anyway, then they ain't treating their soldiers right over on the seas. I don't know what's gonna be next. They're gonna probably say some shit about the Army and the Marines or whoever. Air Force, whatever. And they talking about the morale is so low. They probably gonna make these damn soldiers quit this shit.
Saudi Arabia, Pakistan and Turkey have signed the Mecca Joint Defense Pact, declaring that an attack on one will be considered an attack on all three. 3 Sunni majority powers, 3 very different military strengths. Now, Pakistan brings a large battle-hardened military and a nuclear deterrent. Turkey brings a NATO experience, a powerful defense industry, and advanced drone capabilities. And also Saudi Arabia brings the financial muscle. Together, they could create a new layer of regional deterrence at a time when trust in traditional...
What is it, like the Muslim Alliance? Interesting.
US security umbrella is being questioned. But there is a big question. How far will this pact actually go? The agreement says that an attack on one will be treated as an attack on all, but it does not make clear how or when the 3 countries would actually come to each other's defense. For example, if Houthi forces attack Saudi Arabia, which has been happening, will Pakistan and Turkey be expected to enter into that conflict? That remains untested. And that is why this could be less of a full-fledged military alliance and more of a message of deterrence for now. The bigger story is who is not a part of this group. The United Arab Emirates, Qatar and Egypt are amongst the countries that could potentially join, but there are major differences in their regional priorities. The United Arab Emirates in particular has moved along a completely different track. Abu Dhabi has normalized relations with Israel under the Abraham Accords, while its positions have also diverged from Riyadh and Ankara on issues including Yemen. And that makes the United Arab Emirates position particularly important as this new security equation takes shape. And then there is India. New Delhi now has to watch a region where its closest partners are not necessarily on the same side of the emerging security equation. India has deep strategic ties with Israel, but it also has a rapidly growing partnership with the United Arab Emirates and important relations with Saudi Arabia. The Ministry of External Affairs has said that it is monitoring the developments very closely. So the question for India is not whether to choose one side, it is how to maintain all these strategic partnerships as West Asia's security architecture begins to shift. And for now, New Delhi is keeping its response pretty cautious and is also very closely monitoring the developments and is assessing what this new pact could mean for regional stability and India's own security interests. And I earlier spoke with Dr. Tara Kartha, the former director.
Let's get to the next video. I want to hear that.
China and the United States trade tensions are flaring up, with China rolling out a fresh wave of sanctions targeting multiple.
And it ain't just going to be talking about wars with bullets and missiles, but trade wars.
US-linked entities while tightening controls over its fast-growing drone industry. Chinese authorities have imposed sanctions on a number of American organizations, though specific operational details remain limited. Alongside these measures, Beijing has increased scrutiny on drone exports, a sector where China plays a dominant global role. The tighter oversight is expected to impact international buyers and could disrupt supply chains for commercial and industrial drone applications, especially in markets dependent on Chinese components. With drones critical for logistics, surveillance, agriculture, and defense-linked uses, any curbs from China could have ripple effects on pricing, availability, and innovation cycles globally. At the same time, tensions are spilling into consumer-facing sectors. A separate development saw Chinese netizens reacting strongly to US actions that blacklisted certain food brands over alleged forced labor concerns. According to the South China Morning Post, China has largely mocked the United States' move, with users questioning the credibility of the allegations and criticizing what they see as politicization of trade measures. Public opinion in China has in past instances led to boycotts or shifts in purchasing behavior, particularly when geopolitical issues intersect with consumer markets. Together, these developments underline a broader decoupling trend. On one hand, governments are weaponizing trade tools, sanctions, export controls, and blacklists to protect strategic interests. On the other, consumers are becoming active participants in these tensions, influencing brand perception and market dynamics. For global businesses, the dual pressure from regulatory action and consumer sentiment adds another layer of complexity. Companies operating across both markets already face tougher compliance requirements, reputational risks, and potential disruptions in sourcing or sales, whether through sanctions or critical industries like drones or consumer backlash over trade allegations. The impact is likely to be felt far beyond the two countries.
For the first time ever, Japan has now carried out a live fire test of a US-made Tomahawk cruise missile, marking a major turning point in its defense strategy. The move has sent a strong message across the region and has also triggered concerns amongst its neighbors. Kim Yo-jong, the powerful sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, has issued a military threat to Tokyo. The missile was launched from the Congo-class Aegis destroyer JS Chokai during a live-fire exercise in the Pacific Ocean. Images released by Japan's military show the Tomahawk roaring out of the warship, and the US-made missile can strike targets nearly 1,000 miles away with high precision, giving Tokyo a powerful new long-range capability. But the test comes as Japan is rapidly changing the way it approaches defense. For decades, the country had maintained a pacifist identity shaped by the aftermath of the Second World War. But growing tensions with North Korea and also China's expanding military power have pushed Tokyo to rethink its security strategy. Japan's strategic location, wedged between China and Russia and North Korea, has long made it a linchpin of US security architecture in the Indo-Pacific. The country hosts approximately 120 active US military facilities and installations, and it makes it the largest host of American bases and personnel in the world. Since the US-Japan Security Treaty of 1960, Washington has provided Tokyo with advanced military technology, including the F-35 fighter jets and the Aegis destroyers. The Tomahawk missile test has now added another layer to that partnership, but it has also triggered a pretty sharp response from Japan's rivals. Now, the heightened military activity by Japan has not gone down well with North Korea. The sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has accused Japan of transformation into a war state. In a statement carried out by the North Korean state media, Kim Yo-jong has said, and I quote, "Japan, a war criminal state, is accelerating its transformation into a war state. We will never remain a passive onlooker to the military evolution of Japan, which may pose a grave threat. Leadership will set up additional military options which are obviously due to Japan's transformation." China, a close ally of North Korea, has also raised concerns. Beijing has in fact accused Japan of reviving what it calls new militarism and has warned that its expanding military capabilities could disturb the regional balance.
Japan's recent series of dangerous actions in the space of military security has exposed the self-praise
That was back in April? Whatever.
of its claim of being a peaceful nation with exclusive defense. Many experts and scholars are worried Japan is restarting its war machine and exporting conflict. Japan's quickening remilitarization is a current reality with a concrete path and actions. The international community, including China, will remain highly vigilant on this and firmly resist Japan's reckless new-style militarization.
The ties with China have worsened since the Japanese Prime Minister Sani Takaichi made comments in November suggesting that Chinese action to seize Taiwan could merit a reaction from Japan's military. Now, Beijing has long claimed that Taiwan to be a part of its territory and has not ruled out taking it by force. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our... Amidst the growing West Asia tensions and Ukraine repeatedly pleading for Patriot missiles, the United States has approved the sale of more than 5,000 Patriot interceptors to Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar and the United Arab Emirates. The approval of 5,250 Patriot interceptors for the Gulf states is not just a simple arms sale. It is part of a much broader effort to rebuild an increasingly stretched air defense network and to replenish air defense stocks in the Gulf following the war with Iran. The Patriot, short for Phased Array Tracking Radar for Intercept on Target, is one of the world's most advanced ground-based air defense systems. It was built by US weapons maker Raytheon Technologies and was first used in combat during the Gulf War in 1991. Repeatedly upgraded since then, it is a mobile surface-to-air missile defense system and it can be used in all kinds of weather and at long range and also against aircraft, cruise missiles as well as tactical ballistic missiles, depending on the interceptors being used. It is slated to remain in service till 2048. For Ukraine, the Patriot interceptors are particularly important. Kiev relies on this system to defend against Russian ballistic missile attacks, and President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that the deliveries of air defense missiles from allies this year have fallen to around a third of last year's level.
The only strong response, one that is fair, one that truly achieves its goal and helps people, is additional support for us in Ukraine, for our people, and for our country. There are missiles for the Patriot available around the world, and it is important that our partners make this political decision, the decision to provide the necessary packages. The United States of America knows what we need. Europe knows what we need. Anti-ballistic missiles are meant to protect people.
Reports say the Trump administration is in discussions on allowing Kiev to manufacture the Patriot interceptor components. One of the options being considered will involve Ukraine producing some components before sending them to another European country for final assembly. Other proposals include bringing Ukraine into an existing European-US Patriot program or allowing it to produce the cheaper PAC-3 Ace variant. Now, analysts say that the war with Iran has consumed large quantities of air defense weapons in the United States and the Gulf. And according to reports, around 65% of the US Patriot interceptors were expended between February and July this year, leaving fewer than 850 from an estimated 2,330 before the Iran war began. Saudi Arabia used about 86% of its PAC-3 inventory in just 38 days of combat. And Washington is now moving to increase production of the Patriot missiles. Last month, the US Army had awarded Lockheed Martin a contract worth about $58.6 billion for the Patriot interceptor production. And the country has also signed a separate agreement worth more than $3 billion with Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman to boost production of components for Patriots and THAAD interceptors. Now, under this agreement, production capacity for...
We had no choice but to fight to defend our home.
Welcome to the WION podcast. In this episode, we explore whether Russia's S-400 air defense system can detect and engage the stealthy F-35, examining radar limits, missile ranges, and tactical advantages. While the S-400 can detect standard aircraft from about 373 miles away, former US Navy specialists note that simply detecting a target is not enough. The system needs a precise X-band radar lock before it can launch an interceptor missile. Because of the F-35's extremely low radar cross-section, the S-400 may struggle to secure a weapons lock until the aircraft is within roughly 20 to 30 miles. This sharply reduces the air defense system's effective engagement window. That limited lock-on range gives the stealth fighter an important tactical advantage. The aircraft can launch AGM-88 high-speed anti-radiation missiles from around 60 miles away, potentially destroying the S-400 radar before the system can fire. Despite this advantage, US defense officials have remained cautious. In 2019, Undersecretary Ellen Lord warned that operating F-35s near S-400 systems over extended periods could allow Russian forces to study and map the aircraft's classified stealth profile. To protect their true stealth signatures during routine patrols near Russian air defenses, F-35s frequently carry Lüneburg reflectors. These small devices...
In a report of the Standing Committee on Defence, the Ministry of Defence of India has formally now stated that it has initiated concerted efforts to co-join the French-led 6th generation fighter aircraft development program. There is a future combat air system. With this collaboration bid, India aims to leapfrog from the 5th generation platforms directly into the 6th generation aerial combat capabilities, while also simultaneously advancing its indigenous 5th generation advanced medium combat aircraft, that is AMCA. The timelines converge for both major projects. The AMCA and the FCAS demonstrator flights are targeted for the 2028-29 timeframes. Now, India is entering the picture as Germany has now stepped back from the project. The Franco-German divergence in the FCAS project has arisen over distinct doctrine requirements, primarily carrier operability and nuclear delivery capabilities, and Germany's exit has left France spearheading the project alongside Spain. Unlike Germany, both France and India possess carrier, aviation and nuclear triad operational doctrines, creating direct operational and design alignment for a joint 6th generation platform. Now, India and France are already cooperating on fighter jet capabilities, with France formally submitting its techno-commercial proposal to supply 114 Rafale multi-role combat jets under a deal that is valued at about 3.25 lakh crore. Now, India's entry into the FCAS is quite vital if it fructifies. China claims to be rapidly advancing its own 6th generation fighter prototypes, with J-36 and J-50 along India's northern borders, prompting India to fill this gap in aerial combat. Now, other than China, currently the 6th generation combat aircraft programs are actively being pushed by the United States, France and Spain under the FCAS, and the United Kingdom, Italy and Japan via the Global Combat Air Program. And hence joining or co-developing a 6th generation platform is vital for New Delhi, particularly as India does not yet possess an operational, fully stealth-capable 5th generation fighter jet in its fleet, while its indigenous 5th generation AMCA remains under development.
China has publicly unveiled the airborne leg of its nuclear strike capability for the first time. Beijing has brought its air-based nuclear deterrent into the spotlight with a rare military showcase. The display marks the public debut of China's fully visible nuclear triad capability. China paired its H-6N bomber with J-20 stealth fighters in a high-profile strategic demonstration. The showcase is likely to intensify scrutiny of Beijing's military messaging toward the Indo-Pacific. China has showcased its airborne nuclear strike capability for the first time, according to a report published by China Daily. The footage featured an H-6N strategic bomber flying alongside 2 J-20 stealth fighter jets in a coordinated formation during the military showcase. The H-6N appeared to carry a JL-1 nuclear-capable air-launched ballistic missile, marking the first public display of the weapon in flight, according to reports. The showcase completed the public presentation of China's land, sea, and air-based nuclear triad, highlighting all 3 legs of its strategic deterrent. The video also depicted a simulated strike against an enemy fleet using multiple advanced People's Liberation Army weapon systems in a coordinated attack. China's DF-21D anti-ship ballistic missile, YJ-20 hypersonic missile, and YJ-12 supersonic anti-ship missile were also featured during the demonstration. China Daily said the JL-1 missile was first officially unveiled during Beijing's military parade last year, before appearing in the latest airborne showcase. According to reports, the missile's Chinese name, Jinglei, translates as shocking thunderclap, reflecting its role in China's expanding strategic strike capability. As tensions continue rising across the Pacific, America's and China's most advanced stealth fighter jets are increasingly taking center stage. The U.S. Air Force's F-35 stealth fighter now faces a direct competitor in China's rapidly evolving J-25th generation combat aircraft. Although both aircraft are designed for modern aerial warfare, the American and Chinese stealth fighters differ significantly in design philosophy and operational roles. Powered by one high-thrust turbofan engine, powered by 2 engines for greater thrust, built for air, ground, and electronic warfare missions. Primarily designed to dominate contested airspace, optimized for versatility and stealth operations. Provides additional internal space for fuel and weapons. Engineered to minimize radar and infrared signatures. Designed for extended reach across the Indo-Pacific. Optimized for balanced combat performance. Reportedly capable of faster maximum speed. Operational with multiple allied air forces worldwide. Rapidly expanding within China's air force.
China, I don't know. They trying. But either way, I don't give a fuck about these jets.
Force. Backbone of Allied 5th Generation Air Power. Flagship 5th Generation fighter of the PLAF. The U.S. Air Force's F-35 is coated with advanced radar-absorbing materials specifically engineered to reduce its radar signature and improve survivability. China's J-20 also incorporates stealth technologies similar to the F-35, including radar-absorbing materials and low observable design features. One of the biggest differences between the 2 advanced fighter jets lies in the engines that power their performance and overall capabilities. powered by a single high-thrust F135 turbofan engine, powered by China's latest indigenous WS-15 engines, optimized for efficiency, stealth, and lower operating costs. Designed to deliver greater thrust and enhanced survivability, produces around 43,000.
They got the pictures all wrong. This F-35 supposed to be over here, and this J-20 supposed to be on this side instead. They're switching pictures. Anyway.
Pounds of maximum thrust. Each engine is reportedly capable of producing over 40,000 pounds of thrust, extensively tested through operational deployments and combat service. Represents Beijing's latest breakthrough in fighter engine development. Built to sustain consistent performance across demanding missions. Expected to enhance sustained high-speed flight without afterburners. Simplified engine layout reduces maintenance demands. Twin engines provide additional power and backup in combat scenarios. Lockheed Martin designed the F-35 to carry both air-to-air and air-to-ground weapons for a wide range of combat missions. In addition to its internal weapons bays, the F-35 is now also capable of carrying external weapons when stealth is not the primary requirement. However, the J-20's larger airframe reportedly provides greater internal space for carrying additional fuel and a bigger weapons load. A major advantage for the U.S. F-35 remains its highly advanced sensor fusion, battlefield networking, and real-time data sharing capabilities. F-35's big advantages are low observable airframe and advanced coatings significantly reduce radar.
Alright, anyway, I want to hear this shit no more. Well, they got these fancy smashy damn jets. Wait till they get a load of the Lord's chariots, piloted by the best pilots in the universe or in the galaxy, the angels of the Lord. Shit, wait till they get a load of them. Man, them niggas, they gonna be goddamn them damn these little piss ass gents ain't gonna have a chance. A snowball chance in the hell surviving the war in heaven? No. But anyway, meanwhile, they're going to be fighting each other. I love it. These nations fighting with one another. Let's see what this video is about.
So for years, America's nuclear strategy was built around one major enemy, and now Washington is preparing for something far more dangerous. A war involving both Russia and apparently also China. According to an NBC News report, the Pentagon is drafting a new nuclear strategy for conflicts where US allies come under some simultaneous pressure.
Is America preparing for World War III? Shit. The whole world is at World War III right now.
From Beijing and Moscow. And
it just ain't full throttle, 9,000 RPMs and the engine blow up. Yeah, it's just, we're like at 3,000 or 4,000 RPMs. But yeah, it's ramping up. The Lord putting the pedal to the metal.
The center of this plan is a renewed focus on tactical nuclear weapons. The question...
Like we in third gear, and the Lord gonna put it in that 6th gear, 7th gear soon.
It's pretty straightforward. Is America now preparing to deter a much larger war, or actually, is it preparing to fight one with its $1 trillion budget? Take a look.
The next wild war may not begin with a mushroom cloud. It may begin with a regional conflict. A flashpoint over Taiwan. A confrontation in Eastern Europe. Or an attack on a US ally. That is a scenario driving a major rethink inside the Pentagon. According to an NBC News report, US officials are drafting a new classified nuclear strategy designed for situations where American allies come under attack from Russia or China in a regional conflict. The strategy is expected to guide the president on nuclear options during a crisis. One of its key themes is tactical nuclear weapons. Tactical nukes are not the massive warheads designed to destroy entire cities. They are smaller, lower-yield bombs intended for use against military targets such as troop formations, air bases, command centers, and naval forces on the battlefield. Even though they are called tactical, they remain nuclear weapons. Their destructive power can still be many times greater than conventional bombs. The shift reflects growing concern in Washington. China is rapidly expanding its nuclear arsenal. Russia has more than 5,400
they show these same numbers. I mean, get the fuck out of here. It is way more than that. It is way more than that.
nuclear warheads, while the United States has more than 5,000. Together, the two countries account for roughly 90% of the world's nuclear weapons.
The new strategy also comes at a politically sensitive moment. President Trump has repeatedly criticized NATO allies, questioned US security commitments, and pushed European nations to spend far more on defense. Those comments have fueled concerns about America's long-term commitment to its allies. This new strategy could therefore serve another purpose. Experts say it could be a move to reassure allies that the United States still has a credible nuclear umbrella if they face aggression from Russia or China. Officials say deterrence remains the objective. The aim is to prevent war, not start one. But history shows that every major arms race begins with the same argument: prepare for war to preserve peace. And that is why this new strategy matters, because it is not simply about bigger weapons. It is about how Washington believes the next global crisis could unfold. Bureau Report, WION, Wired is One.
Yep. For the first video, let me see. I didn't start reading the scriptures, so I won't wait to the end. But the first video I played with brother was the GMS Awaken 144, when they showed that woman goddamn screaming her ass off because her man getting snatched up by them soldiers, because they about to drag his ass out to fight the war. Yeah, they got them all the males. Soon it's gonna be women. Yeah, being snatched up. This shit coming to you first world nations. Well, Ukraine is pretty much first world, sort of. I don't know, developed. Well, all I can say is coming to places like America and the UK, where they're going to be drafting people, searching and seeking and hunting them down to throw them out there in the meat grinder. But anyway, let me go ahead and read this. 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 33. The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. Yeah. So a lot of men gonna be dying. They're gonna be a lot of, and there gonna be some women in there that getting snatched up to go to war too. But there gonna be a lot of women that gonna be single. Yep. Gonna be a lot of widows. Yep. Let me see what else we got. Any bunch of losers. Yeah, these niggas don't know what the fuck they doing. They got moldy ass. They got some nasty ass warships. They ain't been maintained. They haven't given the time. They've been out in the oceans for so long, or overseas. They haven't had no. I guess they ain't kept up on the maintenance and shit. What else we got? Let me see. Let me see, Isaiah chapter 13, verse 4. The noise of the multitude in the mountains like as of the great people, the tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord Yahweh of hosts mustered the hosts of the battle. And look what's going on. The Lord got these niggas like Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and I think Pakistan. All these Muslim niggas, they coming together for some kind of, what this shit called, a partnership, some kind of security, some new security partnership. But anyway, yeah, that's going on. And you see, you got trade wars going on with U.S. and China, which, I mean, China got U.S. by the balls. Let me see, Japan bought some Tomahawk missiles, some expensive ass, slow ass missiles, and they depleted U.S. depleting their missiles or defenses and such. Ukraine crying, I want some missiles for defense too. Yeah. Anyway, jets. All these niggas got their jets from India, China, America. Let me get something on that. I didn't want that. Joel chapter 3 verse 9. Proclaim ye among the oh shoot. Where you at? Oh, wrong one. Proclaim ye among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up, beat their plowshares into swords and their pruning hooks into spears. They turn their gardening tools into missile shells and the whatever kind of metal, and planes and jets and such. They turning all that stuff into weapons of warfare or vehicles of carrying weapons of warfare. Yep. Let the weak say I'm strong. And it's all being done by Yahweh, by Shema Shah. He mustering the battle of these nations to fight one another like it's been prophesied. Yep. And I love it. Anything the Lord doing, I love it. Even if the Lord got to kill me as a martyr, I love it. I wouldn't love it, but ain't nothing I can do about it. But anyway, where I'm at. Let me see here. I'm gonna play that video. Let me see. They talking about nukes. Nuclear warfare. I just read this. To keep it short and simple. Isaiah chapter 54 verse 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire for them tactical nukes. And you got gravity bomb nukes and all the other nukes, but this is about them tactical nukes. And that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. So that, you got some bigger nukes. Them nukes, them tactical nukes, they nuclear, but they not as big as the big boys, but still, all of them gonna be sent out. You seen the number, that map they show of the number of nukes that all these other countries have, which that's shit 5,000. America got way more than that. The Bible talking about 200 million. Yeah, 200 million warheads that put them all together in the world. And shit, yeah, that's a lot of warheads, and they all gonna be used. They gonna have to be used. Get rid of all that shit. The Lord gonna have these nations get rid of all that shit. They gonna be dumped out all they missiles and use it on one another so they can destroy each other, because the Lord hates their ass. Isaiah chapter 9 verse 5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with fuel, which shall be with burning and fuel of fire. And another thing too I'm gonna mention, is there another scripture I need to read? I think I'm done with that. I'm gonna get this last video. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get this last video. But first, before I say anything, this last video about Jake having a dream, I was gonna mention about a dream I had. Was it last night or this morning? I can't remember what time it was. But anyway, what happened? It started off. I just ended up in a nuclear bunker, or some kind of bunker, underground bunker, and there was some other people. And this guy, he kind of resembled to the guy, the Venezuelan president, Maduro. But some reason I had a vibe that he, I think he mentioned something, but he from Cuba. But he from Cuba, and this guy that looked like Maduro said this dude about to hit the button. I was like, shit, go for it, bro. And it's supposed to hit California. And it's gonna be more missiles gonna hit California, nukes gonna hit California, but he had a missile that gonna hit California, and I was like, shit, go for it, bro. Let's do it. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck. Let's get it. And there was a countdown for the missiles to be launched. And pretty much it wasn't nothing. I can't remember. It wasn't all detailed. I can't remember everything by detail. But it was just, I ended up in an underground bunker. And I don't even know if he was even near the missile, but we was in an underground bunker. And this Maduro looking dude, Nicolas Maduro looking dude, hit the button, let it go, let it fly. And I'm guessing, yeah, people died after they made contact. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. Anyway, it need to be that way. You need to be in that spirit. Fuck that shit. You don't want to be in the destruction of that nuclear destruction. So, well, you want to pray like heaven, you and maybe your family get out of it. Me, I don't even have no family I can even care about shit. So fuck them. I might care about my mom, but she can go with the shit. She can go and die with the rest of silly ass niggas. Cause seriously, I sign that's cold, but she just acts silly. Seriously. She act silly. Gonna tell me I need to get the vaccine some time ago. I'm like, man, y'all shit. Fuck that shit. Anyway, let me get the Jake video. Fuck these people.
Alright, so today is about my dream, and it's like a dream that I've been having. Like, I done had this dream like 3 or 2 times, so I like.
Joel chapter 2 verse 28, and it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions.
God keep putting it on my conscience, so I'm gonna tell y'all about it and tell y'all what the Holy Spirit brought to my remembrance. Or like,
I can't hear a word Jake's saying. I gotta turn this up more.
What I could. So in this dream, I found myself standing in a school or a college, and outside of it was an open field, and I was surrounded by a class of people or a group of people, and we were all laughing and having fun. So we were happy, and I looked up and seen, like, out of all the happiness that we was just having, I looked up and I just seen a missile or a missile spiraling down, bomb spiraling down, and it exploded. And then many more planes flew by dropping down bombs, and all our happiness turned into terror.
Yay! Fuck this place. Fuck you people.
We all ran trying to find safety, but the school began to get destroyed. There was nowhere to hide, and I began like I started punching through walls and like ripping through walls to like get to like the next room or like where the building wasn't being destroyed. But I started punching through walls. When I woke up, I began to ponder on it and on the dream, and the Holy Spirit brought to my remembrance Luke 21:10.
Yeah. Seek the Lord by seeking His prophets, and take heed what to say, and try to build a spiritual mental relationship with Yahweh Shema Shah by praying Yahweh Shema Shah, praising Yahweh Shema Shah, worshiping Yahweh Shema Shah, fearing Yahweh Shema Shah, and repenting to Yahweh Shema Shah. To all the men out there pushing this truth and none but the truth in the name, spirit, and the power of Yahweh Shema Shah. Keep on preaching, keep on teaching, keep your faith and trust strong, Yahweh Shema Shah. Stay humble, and for you few sisters out there taking heed, keep your faith and trust strong, Yahweh Shema Shah. Stay humble, stay in order with your man. If you ain't got no man, stay in order, Yahweh Shema Shah. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, and all praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. Shalom.